That seems a little iffy to me. We did show heart. We showed heart. We tried to come back, and we just came up short. There wasn't enough time. I thought we had bad clock management late. Tick, 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 tick. The clock was just ticking. Doug Peterson, well, I guess he didn't care about the clock. All around, I thought it was a bad game from the coaching staff to the players. And now we'll move on to this week, which is very important for this Eagles team. We have Carson Wentz back. It's going to be ridiculous how fired up Lincoln Financial Field will be. It's going to be electric when Carson Wentz runs out of the tunnel and leads the crew. I think we forget how great he is. I think we forget how phenomenal Carson Wentz is because we're blinded. We're blinded by the Super Bowl. We're blinded by what Nick Foles did. Carson Wentz was winning MVP of the league. Carson Wentz, before he got injured, was the man, the best player in the National Football League. And I understand he's coming back from injury. And I get it, we don't have the best receiving core there is. But guess what? He's a playmaker. He makes things happen. There was a play last year against the Redskins. He was literally tackled. I mean, there were 7 men on him. He escapes and runs for 15 and gets a first down. He makes plays happen. But I know it's going to be a little rusty. I get it. I know that he's coming back from an injury, and he hasn't really taken legitimate shots yet. Now, speaking of our wide receivers, we pick up Jordan Matthews, and he was here before. He's only 26, and I get it. He was hurt with the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots, and he didn't get much going. But when he was here, he was Carson's favorite target. When he was here, he was a very solid slot receiver. But there's our issue. We have injured guys on the outside. Nelson Agholor has finally come into his position. Nelson Agholor has finally showed he can be a legit player in this league in the slot. But now what do? Do we move Nelson Agholor to the outside because of his speed, let Jordan Matthews play in the slot? Then we'll have Zach Ertz. I mean, that's our best option. We can have Nelson Agholor torch cornerbacks with his speed. We can do that. I think that's literally our only option. We'll see how it plays out. But I think that Howie needs to go out and get another player. I like the move. It helps. But there's still people out there. Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant's a no-brainer to me. Dez Bryant is an easy pickup if you're Howie Roseman. But it seems like he doesn't want to do it. We had an opportunity to go out and get Josh Gordon. I know he has off-the-field issues, but he is a stud. And what bothers me the most about not going to get him is it only took the New England Patriots a 5th-round pick. That's it. That's all. A 5th-round pick. I think we could have done better. We have 2 4th-rounders. For a talent like that, when we're this desperate, I mean, we are this desperate. There is no reason why we shouldn't have went out and got Gordon. There are moves that still need to be made by Howie Roseman. Apparently, we're looking at Jeremy Maclin. He's 30. I don't know if he still has it. I feel like Kelsey at the speech. But I don't think he still has it. For some reason, they're just focusing on ex-Philadelphia Eagles players. For some reason. But right now, we're in such a desperation mode, it shouldn't matter. We need to go out and get someone who's going to help this football team win. So I say go get Dez. We need more. Now, I'm stoked for tomorrow's game. I really am. The energy is going to be insane at the Link. Our defense is chopping at the bits to prove themselves after what happened last week. They were pissed off about last week, how it played out. They weren't happy with the way that it played out for them. We know that. So they're going to come out and be fired up. And this crowd is going to make it happen. We have the best run defense in the NFL. The best. Number 1. They don't have much talent when it comes to the running back. But what I see them doing, keep in mind they have Frank Reich, who was here as the offensive coordinator and winning a Super Bowl with us. But I think they're going to try and match up T.Y. Hilton on Jalen Mills because everyone's been talking bad on Jalen Mills and now the fact that he can't cover. They're going to try and attack Jalen Mills. They're not going to be able to run the football on us. They're going to try and attack what was bad last week, and that was our secondary play. Frank Reich knows our offense, but I know Doug Peterson's going to switch things up. I really do. I think the Colts are going to take shots with Andrew Luck. Listen, Andrew Luck, I like the story. He's been injured. He's coming back. He's been okay. He's had opportunities to win. They won last week in Washington. They could have won against the Bengals week 1, but Andy Dalton said no. They came back and had a good win. The Bengals did. But we don't have Ajayi. We don't have Sproles. We're going to have to rock Corey Clement all the game, but that's fine. I like that. We also brought up Josh Adams from the practice squad, who I was surprised he didn't make the 53 right out of camp, to be honest with you. We have Smallwood. If we want to be a legitimate football team this year, which we have the talent to do so, this is a must-win game. This is a must-win game. But you got to factor in. I know fans forget what Carson Wentz can provide for us. I'll put it in perspective like this. The Browns on Thursday Night Football just won their first game in years. They were down 14-0. Enters Baker Mayfield. There was a spark. There was an energy level. And they win the football game and come back. Same roster. Everyone was exactly the same. But Baker Mayfield entered. It's not like they got better here, better there, better. No. Same team, different spark. Carson Wentz is that spark. It's that simple. It is actually that simple. MVP. He is MVP of the National Football League. Now, one more thing I would like to add about this game against the Colts. You have teams, I feel like, disrespecting Nick Foles' arm. Now, with Carson Wentz, it's a game changer. The defensive looks are going to be different. You need to respect what Carson Wentz can do with that arm. He can bomb the football. Absolutely bomb it. So what's that mean? The box is going to be open. What's that mean? We're going to have a better run game because you're going to have to respect what we can do with the football. If you don't, then you're going to be letting up a lot of chunk plays. And we'll take that too. Because when you have to respect an arm like Carson, you're going to have to play more players back. You're going to have that box open for a run game. And Corey Clement, maybe he's not a 30-touch guy. He's going to have to be now. I think he's explosive. He can do a lot of great things. But I also think that's because we have such a great system with our backs. You have Jay Ajayi. You have Darren Sproles. And then you have Corey coming out of the chute. Full speed. But now he's going to get a ton of touches. He's going to be the go-to guy. So I just hope he can keep that effective run game. I hope he can keep that long-term throughout a game. And speaking of long-term throughout a game, Jason Peters. Speaking of the run game, Jason Peters, our left tackle. He goes out. He's getting banged up. Listen, his age is getting to him. I feel like he's going to be taking a quarter off, playing for a few plays, taking a quarter off. Who knows? Who knows? We're going to have to get Vaitai to get in there. Hopefully he can hold his own. The Colts do have a good run defense, but like I said, when they have to respect an arm like Carson, it's going to affect everything. But Frank Reich does know a lot about Carson, a lot about his tendencies, a lot about Doug's tendencies. He was here, and he did game plan a Super Bowl championship with us. But I'm sure that Doug Peterson, I trust in Doug Peterson that he came up with something different, maybe a similar look. But he goes somewhere else. A look that Frank Reich would see and say, oh, I know what they're running here. Nah. Dougie P runs it to the opposite side. I think this is a win for the Eagles. I think we have the fire behind us because of what happened last game. I mean, last game was just not like us. It wasn't us. We've been watching this Eagles team for how long? And that just was uncharacteristic. Everything that happened from the first play of the game of Malcolm Jenkins biting on a move from Deshaun Jackson, scoring a 75-yard touchdown, to Ronald Darby missing a tackle in the middle of the field, which was ugly, for O.J. Howard to score a 75-yard touchdown. It doesn't happen to this football team. Our defensive line didn't have the greatest day when it came to penetration and getting to the quarterback. So I just think we have some fire behind us. Jim Schwartz is going to come out and fire up a game plan that is going to be lethal. And this team, this defense especially, is going to be just sparked knowing what happened last week. And speaking of spark, that's going to happen with our offense. You have Zach Ertz, Jason Peters, Nelson Aguilar, all of these men tweeting, saying, I can't wait to get my brother back on the field. I am so fired up for my brother to come back on the field. They want him back. They know what he can do. We have reporters saying, we thought Carson Wentz was awesome when we saw him coming into last season. He's now coming off injury, and he looks 500 times more locked in than he did at the beginning of last season. Carson Wentz eats, sleeps, breathes coming back. I don't even know how he's going to sleep tonight. I don't think he will sleep tonight. And if he doesn't, he's still going to have a great game. There's no doubt in my mind the Eagles at home are going to win this game. Doug Peterson is undefeated at home, and we are favored by more than 6 points. Now, I don't want to just look into the spreads or Vegas or anything. They also have Carson Wentz at 260 yards for the over-under. I feel like that's a lot. I love Carson, I really do, and I know he can do it. Something tells me that's a lot. But hey, I wouldn't be mad if he does that. I'm writing it up. I'm writing it up as a W. I think our run game is going to look very good, even though we're hurt, but I think it's going to look good because of the respect of Carson. I also think we're going to run short little screen plays, short little passes as well. Get Carson a little bit of a groove. The Colts defense struggle with that. Get it out quick and let your players do magic. Have Corey Clement catch the ball. Let him do it. Nelson Aguilar, let him catch it on a screen pass. Let him run. We should win the trenches. This game, we should win the trenches. Our defensive line, no-brainer. Our offensive line, no-brainer. I will say my one if is Jason Peters. My other if, Jordan Matthews. It is weird that at 26, and I know he's been injured, so I get it, and no one succeeds really in Buffalo to that extent. But it is weird with the numbers that he has. People look back at the statistics that Jordan Matthews provided for the Eagles a few years back. I just don't know if we're getting that same level. He's had an interesting journey, but he has a great connection with Carson. I mean, they're best friends. And sometimes that can help the flow of the team when you're out there. You're playing with your best friend. Just think about that. It was one of his favorite targets in the slot. I'm just curious to see how Dougie P plays it out. How long does Jordan Matthews play? How effective will Nelson Aguilar be on the outside, if he even plays the outside? He should be able to. He has the confidence now. It's not like back with Chip Kelly where he just didn't have confidence. He was dropping balls left and right. He's solidified himself as someone who can play in this league. But it is a different type of game on the outside, but his speed needs to stretch the field for us. It needs to happen. He just has to take one for the team and play there for right now. I can't imagine Doug doing this any other way. But it stinks because Nelson Aguilar has been really nice in the slot. And you can have effective careers in the slot. You can. It's a win for the Eagles. It's a must win for the Eagles. It really is. Based off of the talent on the other side, based off the team that we want to be. And we got to sit back and say, Nick Foles, thank you for everything you've done. He's experiencing an interesting journey as well. I mean, think about it. Back up here, back up there, back up here. Terrible year with the Rams. Getting released, going to Kansas City, thinking about quitting football. Comes back to Philadelphia. Carson Wentz gets hurt. Plays the last few games of the season, looks horrible. Beats the Falcons, beat the Vikings, beat the Patriots. We win the Super Bowl. Start the season off 1-1. And I don't think he had a bad game last weekend. I really don't. That was not on Nick Foles. Understanding this is Carson Wentz's team the entire time, he accepts Philadelphia. He steps back and says, thank you for everything. I did my job. Carson loves him. I mean, just a true professional. It's not easy. Everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to be the guy. You train all off season. You do what you did last year. And Carson comes back after you win Super Bowl MVP. And now he's back to holding the clipboard. But just handling it like a true professional. Saying, I'm here for the team. Whatever helps the team. That's what I'm here to do. And that's not an easy thing as a human being of a competitive nature like this. You're in the NFL, you have a competitive nature that is unbelievable. And for him to just step down, as smooth as this was, and just say thank you, thank the fans for everything, it's crazy. It's crazy. I respect it. It's not an easy thing at all to have to do. I also think the fact that Doug Peterson was once a backup quarterback definitely helps. Just the way I'm sure him and Nick Foles communicate. He's experienced it firsthand. He's been in the league where he had to back up big-time quarterbacks. So he gets it. He understands. And I'm sure the communication between the two, it makes it a little bit easier. Before we head into the break, one more time. Carson Wentz coming back is going to electrify the link when he runs out. It's going to be unreal, so loud, beautiful. And we are going to win this football game. When we come back, we will talk about what went around in the NFL. We'll hit some high school football, maybe some Sixers action. We will see you after the break. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Broads. What we just discussed was some Eagles football. We broke down the Tampa Bay game. We broke down what's going to happen in the Colts. Let's just take a look briefly around what happened in Week 2 in the NFL before we head to some high school football. Pat Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs scored 6 touchdowns. Threw 6 touchdowns. That is unbelievable. The kid is special. There was a big play in the Green Bay Minnesota Vikings game where there was a roughing the passer call on Clay Matthews when Green Bay was up. They intercepted the ball on that play, but this roughing the passer call was garbage, and it was literally the new rule, with air quotes, that they're trying to put for the safety of quarterbacks, but it's just that's a football play. That's a standard football sack. And what ended up happening was it kept the Vikings drive alive. Kirk Cousins made an outstanding throw to Thielen, and they end up tying the game. It goes to overtime. The Minnesota Vikings kicker misses it. Green Bay kicker ends up missing it actually in regular time for a win. It was bad. It was a bad way for the NFL to look on a roughing the passer call that they're trying to fix because the rule just doesn't make sense. The speed of these players and to make them have to stop instantly on the dime when they're going full speed to try and tackle a quarterback, it blows my mind. So pretty much the Green Bay Packers got robbed last week. The Browns lost in Week 2 after missing an extra point to take the lead with a minute left in the game, and then they missed a field goal to tie it, but it doesn't matter because of what happened on Thursday night, which we will get to. Khalil Mack is just such a beast. He's playing now for the Chicago Bears, and when some people get paid, they lose a little bit because they got their money. He has stepped up to a whole new level. He has brought this Chicago Bears defense to a whole different level of excitement and work ethic, and it's just awesome. And on the other side, you have John Gruden talking every day to the media saying, we need a pass rush. You need a pass rush? You just had the best in the league and you let him go. So he's fired up. And then the last thing about Week 2 was the Jags smoked the Patriots. But the Patriots always lose in September. The Patriots go down in September, then the storylines come out. Does Bill Belichick still have it? Does Tom Brady still have it? Yeah, they do. Yes, 100%. This is the same conversation every year. This was the Jags Super Bowl. They made a statement. Blake Bortles looked good, had some nice runs for some first downs. But yes, the Patriots still have it. So that was some Week 2. I'll throw in a little bit of Thursday Night Football. The Browns get their first win ever. So awesome. You have the Jets up 14-0. What a collapse by the Jets, by the way. Their head coach definitely in a pickle now. But Baker Mayfield steps in right before the half when it's 14-0. They get a field goal. He keeps attacking. He's making really nice throws. Jarvis Landry making beautiful catches. He also, though, for making some really nice throws, his wide receivers missed a few. Antonio Callaway missed one on the sideline. Jarvis Landry hit him square in the chest. He missed one. But Baker Mayfield, he looked good. It was exciting, and the Browns get their first win ever. They were celebrating like they won the Super Bowl. Pretty entertaining to see. And I will say this, and it makes me a little bit sick to my stomach, but I respect it. The Browns ran the Philly special for a 2-point conversion. It worked, but that hurts me to watch. But it's okay. A 2-point conversion in a regular season Thursday night football game or the Super Bowl. You take your pick on what's better. Looking for Week 3 tomorrow, we obviously have the Eagles Colts. We have the Saints versus Falcons, big one. The rivalry, the division, it can go any way. The struggling 0-2 Giants go to Houston. I don't understand how the Giants' offense is this bad with Odell and Barkley. I think Pat Shurmur's not doing the best job calling plays, but their offensive line's not giving Eli Manning any time in the pocket. So, Giants 0-2. Monday Night Football, you have the Steelers at Tampa Bay. And you have Tampa Bay being hot. It's home. Being a hot team right now. Fitzpatrick, can they do it again? Can he do 400 yards and 4 touchdowns again? On the other side, you have the Steelers, and it seems like they're falling apart. Antonio Brown now getting upset. Tweeting at some regular people saying, trade me, see what happens. Because someone called him out and said he'd be nobody in Pittsburgh. Or outside of Pittsburgh, I will say. Le'Veon Bell still having his issue. It's it's interesting what's going on in Pittsburgh right now. But let's go to some high school football. Let's take a look at what happened Friday night around South Jersey and some of the games. You have Oakcrest scoring 20 points in the first quarter on Egg Harbor Township, where Egg Harbor Township couldn't get any points until the fourth quarter. The comeback fell just a little bit short in a 26-14 loss. Egg Harbor Township's quarterback, Steven Ramos, 137 yards, 1 touchdown. He did throw 2 interceptions. So Oakcrest D creating some turnovers, and from there, they took advantage of it. Oakcrest getting some turnovers defensively, letting their offense do the work, getting some points, and they come out with a big-time W over Egg Harbor Township last night. St. Joe's Hamilton just continuing to dominate. They win over Atlantic City 56-0. 6 touchdowns combined for Ross, Byers, and Mercado. Now they head to Haddonfield. Both are undefeated. So you have a big-time matchup next week. Both teams trying to battle it out to stay undefeated, and that's going to be an awesome game. St. Joe's Hamilton is really good. Their offense and their defense click at the same time. It's tremendous. But so is Haddonfield. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be who wins the trenches. The trenches are very telling when it comes to who wins a game. So we'll definitely break that down next week without a doubt. St. Augustine, they beat Shawnee 27-3. Now St. Augustine is 2-2 overall, but 2-0 in their division. There was a key play in this game. Freshman Hill scores his first touchdown. He jukes a defender after turning the corner, slipped through a second defender, and ran 20 more yards untouched to secure the win for St. Augustine. And for your first touchdown ever, to make it something special like that, making some defenders miss, juking a little bit, nice footwork, hitting the corner. I'm sure when they watch film, they love that one. That's going to be in the batch where everyone's smiling, saying that was executed perfectly, and that was great efforts out of the freshmen. When you're a freshman trying to impress, you got to make the most of your opportunities. You need to make plays like that happen, so the head coach is thinking not only for the remainder of that game, for next week, for practice, should we get him more touches? That's excellent work at a Hill. He's got a lot of years left to play under this coach, and to be impressing him right off the start like this first year, that's great. That is absolutely phenomenal. Timber Creek wins 24-10 over Vineland. Timber Creek throwing the football. They throw the football well. Senior quarterback Jefferson showing a good passing game. 13-20, 167 yards. For their receiving corps, still 5 receptions, 82 yards. Little, 7 receptions, 65 yards. He also ran for a touchdown. And then 4 other receivers were targeted throughout the game, getting some yards as well. So Timber Creek liking to throw the football, trusting the quarterback's arm. And they get their win. Millville gets their first win of the season over Kingsway, which is awesome. 26-7. Millville's D shutting out Kingsway in the first half and the fourth quarter. So Millville's D stepping up, only allowing 1 touchdown. That's great for Millville, getting their first win on the board. Hopefully they can use the snowball effect, build off that, look at film, see what they did right. Even look at film and what they did wrong in the first few weeks. Take a look back at week 1, week 2. See the mistakes that were made. And make sure they don't happen again, and then build off of the success that happened in this game over Kingsway. It's okay to look back at some mistakes. It only helps your team grow. But take a look at the good plays, too. I mean, film should be both. And they take a look at this game, and hopefully they build off this. Holy Spirit improves to 3-1 after beating Hamilton 28-3. Holy Spirit's defense shows that they can win games. I mean, it's as simple as that. You let up one field goal, you're going to win games. And 3-1, that's a great start after 4 weeks. And that's a confidence boost. When you start successfully, Just like Millville maybe getting on a snowball effect, it works the same way. When you start 3-1, you can roll and just have that confidence. Middle Township beats Gloucester Catholic 40-12. Middle Township shutting out Gloucester Catholic at the half, 19-0. Gloucester Catholic just could not get any offense going. They put up 6 points in the third and the fourth, but GC's defense allowed 21 in those quarters. Middle Township making a statement. They were favored to win the game, but for it to be 40-12, all right, they have their name on the map a little bit. So those were some big-time games over last night in high school football here in South Jersey. Taking a look at some local college, Rowan is now 3-0. They beat William Patterson at home 22-6. Their defense allowed 0 points until the fourth quarter. They had their field goal kicker nailing 31-yarder, 20-yarder, 27-yarder. Rowan scored 2 touchdowns as well. So their field goal unit, excellent. Excellent. That's great to see. You got to have confidence in your kicker. They can come down and win you some football games. So 3-0 for a hot Rowan team. But here they go. Today, this afternoon, a true test. A real test. They're playing number 6, Frostburg State, away. 1 o'clock. I think this Rowan team can do it. I want to see them go in there, come out with a win, and potentially maybe get ranked if they do it. What an unbelievable hot start for this Rowan team. Temple, they win Thursday night 31-17 over Tulsa, coming off a Big Ten win over Maryland. They're 2-2 in the season after falling to Buffalo and Villanova. Villanova is 2-2 as well after losing to Towson in an offensive shootout, 45-35. Let's go Sixers. Let's bring a little Sixers here. There was our local sports recap. But the Sixers, they hired their general manager, finally. We had an ugly showing with what happened with Brian Colangelo. Insanely brutal. I like the move. We hired Elton Brand. And there are fans out there that are not happy. But I like it. He's a respected guy. He was a great player. He's got phenomenal character. I know he doesn't have much track record as a GM at this level. He was for the G League team. And he doesn't have the final say. It's still a team decision. Brett Brown still has it. He does not have the final say, which is not normal for a GM. It's still a collective group. But we have someone in place, someone who's been in the organization. So he doesn't have full control over the shots that are called, but I like the move. I think he's a respected guy. A lot of people love him. He's going to have to create relationships around the league with other general managers, with upper management, and I get that, and that will come. But when you have high character, it's easier to do so. You want to work with people who are great people, have success, and just down-to-earth, genuine good people. And that's what he is. You don't want to have someone who's snarky. And I think he can create that type of relationships around the league. At first, I was a little stunned, I'll be honest with you. At first, I was a little eyebrow raised, I should say. But now that I'm sitting back and I'm really evaluating it, and I'm looking at the success that this can bring for this team, knowing what we've been through, understanding, playing. He's been a player in this league. He's been in locker rooms where that addition worked. He's been in locker rooms where adding that next piece didn't work. So he's experienced it firsthand, and that is extremely beneficial. He knows what Joel Embiid brings to the table. He knows what Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz. He's been in the organization. And speaking of Markelle Fultz, he's come out with that Players Tribune piece. We see some jump shots. Oh, is he going to be fun? Is he going to be fun? I'm telling you, he's going to come back a different player. He was talking about wanting to be the guy at the end of the game. There's no play call. He just wants to go one-on-one. Had the other team guessing. Let's do it. I'm all in. I think him and Ben should play on the floor at the same time, but that's for another day. That's for another day. Although the Sixers season's creeping up on us, they just had media day, and it's super exciting to think about. I like the move of Elton Brand. It's a good move. There are fans skeptical because we've talked to Golden State, Houston, San Antonio executives. And we went in-house, and we went with someone who doesn't have the full shots. I don't care. He's been in the organization. He's been a player. He knows what it takes to be a player and what it takes to add specific players to a roster that can benefit from firsthand experience. There's no reason to be upset with this. You don't know what he's going to be. You're just yelling at a name. You've never seen him do work. At one point, some of these successful GMs were never GMs. You got to give him a shot. You absolutely need to give him a shot. And I love it. Great guy for the move. We're going to hit the break here. And on the other side, we have some Phillies. We have some Flyers preseason. And some other great sports. So I will see you after the break. Yeah. What's up?
When are you planning on going on your next break? Did you have a time in mind? Or
Yeah,
I
was just gonna probably at the end so she can have time to set up. Does that work?
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I just want to make sure there was another one.
Oh yeah, no
I'll
doubt.
just grab it now instead of
30,
yeah.
60.
I'll do it on the next one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got like 2.5, 3 minutes extra on the next one.
Oh, sweet. Everything going well?
Yeah. Got in this time.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
I
Yeah.
didn't get a phone call, so I figured everything
Yeah.
was good.
They actually changed the locks back to the original one.
They did?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know.
I'll just give you the rake.
It is what it is.
Yeah, whatever makes them happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, well, that's fun. That's fun.
We are back. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Broads. We had some discussions earlier in this show about the Eagles, how I think they're going to win. We broke down some monster high school football games, some big-time wins. Big-time wins last night, and some teams looking to make some statements next week. I mean, the biggest game on the market next week, one of the biggest, has to be that St. Joe's Haddonfield matchup. Two teams trying to really show that they can win a championship this season. Let's hit some topics here. We have the Phillies, we have the Flyers, both, should I say, going in opposite directions. The Phillies have a huge series against the Braves. They enter this series 5.5 games back and a 4-game set. Game 1, they lose 8-3. Sloppy play, bad defensive efforts, just bad IQ baseball. Costed us. Garcia gets put into the game. Gabe Kapler gets criticized insanely for that move. He gets rocked around, and we fall 8-3. I think, okay, we lose game 1. I'm definitely hurt because we need to win as many games as we can in this series just to have a little bit of hope. But hey, if we win the next 3, maybe we have something here. Game 2, we take a nice lead. Cesar Hernandez with a homer. But then we give the lead up a couple innings later. Okay, tie game. 7th inning comes around. Wilson Ramos smacks one over Ronald Acuna's head in left field. It goes to the wall. We're scoring all kinds of run. Jose Bautista comes up. He gets an RBI knock. We're up 4-1 in the 7th. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Pat Neshek on the mound to try and get us going here. Ozzie Albies. 2-run shot, 4-3. Okay, that hurt. It's not the end of the world. We're still up. But that hurt. And then the 7th inning just continues. The same inning that we take the lead, finally, and make a statement. Finally, we make the lead. We give it right back up. Our piece we got at the trade deadline. He comes in, Avalon. He gets rocked. I mean, it was double singles, walks up. Oh, man, it was horrible. They take the lead 6-4. We have Jorge Alfaro with the triple in the 9th. We knock him in with the Mike Alfranco single. The game ends 6-5. We had an opportunity at one point with J.P. Crawford getting a triple, 0 outs, couldn't knock him in. Oh, it was just, it's bad. It's just bad. And you can see the management getting upset. I haven't seen Gabe Kapler yell in 153 games. Originally, I thought he was yelling at the pitch where Roman Quinn struck out at the end of the game. But he was more fired up that the umpire got in Roman Quinn's face a little bit. But I've never seen Gabe Kapler yell. And for him to yell like that just shows me the frustration's getting to him. I'm not a huge Gabe Kapler fan, but he's frustrated. And right now, I believe we're 78-75. This Phillies team has a chance to not even finish 500. This is one of the worst back ends of a Philly season ever. I'm trying to think positive. Is it a good thing? Is it a good thing? Maybe we build off this. Maybe we find a way to look at this as a teaching and a learning situation for this team, but it's just bad. There's no other way to put it. And they have a chance to clinch. I just can't believe it. At one point in this season, we were destroying teams, winning baseball games, and I said, if we don't make the NLDS and win the division, I'm going to be pissed. Now look at me. The season recap is going to be an emotional roller coaster through the ups and downs on what this Phillies team brought me. I just don't get it. It's, where do we go wrong? It's the same roster. Is it just the fact that maybe the pressure's too high, the games mean way too much in late August and September where we just can't handle it? Because what changed? What changed with this Phillies team? I don't like the fact that people say this is what we were. This is what we were all year. Because we weren't. I get that, but there was a time where we were winning series after series after series. We had offense. Our starting pitching was good. For a long term, it wasn't our pitching was hot at times. Our pitching was successful long term. Our bullpen was very successful for a really good chunk. Yes, there were times where we had droughts, but that happens in 162 games. This is unacceptable. And that's just what it is. This is unacceptable. This isn't what we were all year. It was not. Maybe the sloppy play was, sure. But our starting pitching was successful all year. Now, it's only Aaron Nola. I don't know Gabe Kapler's use of the bullpen, the way he manages the lineup cards. I don't know. But that's where we are with the Phillies. We have a chance to lose today and officially not win the NL East. Let's move on to some Flyers preseason. Nothing crazy. I get it. It's preseason. But some takeaways. There's some prospects out there that definitely catch my eye. Shane Gostisbehere looks amazing. His one-timer, his slap shots, his power play, the way he runs the power play right now, it's amazing. And I know it's just preseason, but wow. Shane Gosper definitely caught my eye a little bit. You want your top performers to be able to succeed in preseason too. There's nothing wrong with that. Carter Hart. People want him in now. And I do, but it's not the right move. Coming from experience, playing 3 years of junior hockey before I played NCAA, you can't rush it. And throwing him into the fire right now, it's not the move. He played in the Q. He did phenomenal, or the W, whichever major junior league he played in. I forget if it was the WHL or the QMJHL, but he is special. And I think he needs to get a little bit of time in the AHL before he gets the nod. I hate to say it. I don't want it to be that way, but that's just the best for his mental part of the game and best for his career. Whether it's a full season, whether it's 60 games, whatever. It's the right move for him. It's the right jump. It's the right level for him to get some confidence, all of it. Carter Hart should not come up right away. I'm excited for this team. Morgan Frost is going to be a player. We got some overseas guys that are going to be absolute studs. Nolan Patrick, second overall pick, special. Came out to play last year in the back end. Kind of had to work his way up. He just got thrown into the fourth line, third line. Kind of had to get the feel of the NHL game. Once he got to where he needed to be at that top 6 spot, he was lethal. I'm excited to see the type of jump he makes on top of Travis Konechny. Does that kid not scream Philadelphia? I went back and actually looked at some of my videos in the playoffs on YouTube, and he was definitely an emotional roller coaster at times. He needs to control his emotions, but when it comes to the grit, the hitting, the way he plays the game, the juice, the chirping, Travis Konechny is Philadelphia, and it's exciting to know that he's going to be here, and I want to see him play with G. I want to see him play with Giroux. Giroux going to the left side last year, phenomenal for his career, 100-plus point season. Him and Travis Konechny with a Sean Couturier as our first 3. Oh, man. And then a Nolan Patrick, Voracek, JVR. We still have Wayne Simmons. Wow. Just wow. This Flyers team is going to be exciting. We got a lot of young guns. This is it. This is the year that starts the push. This is the year where these players that we've been waiting for, Ron Hextall making outstanding moves, drafting extremely well. His drafting is beautiful. And now his players are starting to come up, and we're about to see them. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year with the Sixers, good year with the Eagles, a good year with the Flyers, and we're starting to get there. We're starting to get to the seasons of the teams that can have really solid years and give us fans something to root for every single night. Poor Phils. I wish I could have mentioned the Phils in that sentence. They gave us something all summer. As much as I am so hurt about the Phillies, when I take a picture of the season as a whole, yeah, they gave me baseball that mattered throughout the summer, which we haven't seen in so long. But you know what else? It blew up. It blew up bad. Lastly here, it's Saturday, and there's some big-time college football games on. You have Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, at Alabama. Now, Jimbo Fisher and that team played Clemson 2 weeks back and gave them a run for their money and could have won the football game. Alabama's favored by 27 points. This Alabama team is different. It's crazy to think that, but it's true. They've put in 50 points plus up on every team they've played. It's in Alabama. Now it's a 3:30 game. I feel like if it was an 8 o'clock game, it would be a little bit more hype. But I don't know. I just feel like 27 points to be fair. A&M's a good team. I know Alabama's a whole different level, but to cover, I might think Texas A&M. by a couple points, get them at plus 30. Texas A&M could be a play. TCU, coming off that Ohio State loss, they're at Texas. And Texas played USC. TCU's a good team. They got great wide receivers. Phenomenal wide receivers. You toss them up to them outside and they can make magic happen. I think TCU wins that game. Stanford at Oregon, that's the big one. That is the juicy one. Wisconsin at Iowa. And Wisconsin just lost to BYU last week with an opportunity to tie the game, kick a field goal, and the senior kicker misses it. Huge upset. Wisconsin falls. Now they're ranked 18th, and they're going into Iowa, who's a tough football team. I mean, they play hard. They play hard. They play gritty. So that's where we're at with college football. So this is where I'm going to end the show. Thank you guys so much for listening this Saturday. We will be back next Saturday to recap what we had going on. Rowan football with a huge opportunity to face number 6 Frostburg State today at 1 o'clock to improve to 4-0. They're undefeated. They're playing great football. They have a great running game. Let's see if they can do it. The Eagles against the Colts tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Carson Wentz is back. Sixers hire their new GM, Elton Brand. And the Phillies are just not showing up against the Braves in a huge series for the division. And that's just what it is. Flyers look good in preseason. Carter Hart looks like a stud. Thank you so much for listening this week. And I will see you next Saturday.